Harvard will begin its spring semester without Claudine Gay as its president. Gay announced her resignation yesterday, which comes weeks after her controversial testimony on Capitol Hill. When asked if calling for the genocide of Jews was a violation of the student code of conduct, Gay and the presidents of MIT and Penn said it depended on the context. Well, days later, Penn's president resigned, and now Claudine Gay has made the same decision. New York Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who asked the genocide question during that hearing, posted this on X, which read in part, 2 down, 1 to go. Your silence is deafening, MIT. NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell joining us now. So, Sue, before we get into the role House Republicans played in all of this, let's talk about Claudine Gay. We know what happened at that congressional hearing. Harvard's board publicly stood by her at the time. It seemed that she had weathered this storm. Then came the accusations of plagiarism. Any insight into why this resignation came when it did?
Well, Corey, she's writing in the New York Times just as we were going to air. She had a guest opinion called "What Just Happened at Harvard is Bigger Than Me." And she writes, "My hope is that by stepping down, I will deny the demagogues the opportunity to further weaponize my presidency in their campaign to undermine the ideals animating Harvard since its founding." So we hear more from her in that guest opinion as to the charges of plagiarism and what happened to her. But as far as hearing from Harvard, no, we're not going to hear from them. And if history is a guide, only Claudine Gay can tell us. Harvard is a private institution, as we know, right? And they can do whatever they want. But they're also a major employer here and part of Massachusetts' storied history. So what happens at Harvard does impact us here as citizens of Massachusetts. But the board of the Harvard Corporation, which is one of the boards that oversees Harvard, it was formed in 1650. And while it supported Gay, you didn't see any members out making public appearances or writing in the New York Times to show their support for her, even though I think we can safely assume that it was the board that hired and directed the team that prepared Gay for that congressional testimony that went so wrong. So I think the board owes it to Gay and the Harvard community to be clear about what these plagiarism allegations are, especially since we now know they were part of an orchestrated attack against her. But you know what? Harvard's been doing what Harvard wants to do for over 370 years. You can just ask the Alston neighborhood. So I don't think they're going to change now.
Let's talk about Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Anti-Semitism on college campuses is certainly a concern Congress can and should look into. But she's not the first federal lawmaker to call for someone to resign. She's been unrelenting in her push to get all 3 women removed from their jobs. Is this what the GOP-led House is doing now? Is this their thing, their MO?
Yeah, it's pretty performative when you get right down to it, although I certainly agree it's important for national lawmakers to be concerned about anti-Semitism and other issues on campuses. And many have expressed concern about the issue at Harvard and other universities even before the attack. But Congresswoman Stefanik has not shown the same zest and passion about another president's lack of condemnation of anti-Semites or misogyny or a host of alleged crimes. And of course, I'm talking about Stefanik's support of Donald Trump and how she's able to condemn these college presidents and call for their resignation while supporting Trump and also make statements like she has in the past that support the white supremacist great replacement theory is quite a feat of being a pretzel, I think, there, Corey.
Sue, is this, for lack of a better terms, a scalp for the right? How much do you think the GOP's long disdain for Ivy League schools played a role in this? And let's not, lose sight of the fact that a lot of these GOP congressmen and women went to Harvard and other elite institutions that they seem to have so much disdain for.
Yeah, the disdain for the Harvard graduates like Stefanik and let's see who else, Ron DeSantis, who else? Oh, Ted Cruz. And there are also the Yale graduates like Senators J.D. Vance and Josh Hawley, who you might remember running through the halls of Congress trying to get away from his supporters. But they get all their learning at the elite campuses and then they try to destroy them. So I guess we in the media sometimes fall for this, oh, shucks, the liberal elite institutions are ruining America narrative without really taking a moment to note that these liberal elite institutions have produced many of these hardcore conservative and successful lawmakers who chose to attend those colleges. So I guess we in the media should at least note that they at least have standing in criticizing the Harvards and the Yales, because if they look at their walls, I'm sure they have those degrees hanging there right behind them to remind them that they went there, Corey.
All right, Sue O'Connell live for us in the newsroom. Sue, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And of course, stay with us here on NBC 10 Boston for continuing coverage on the resignation of Claudine Gay. You can also find more reaction to yesterday's announcement on our website, NBCBoston.com.